Hi. So I have no makeup on. I'm grunged out. I mean, it's pretty bad. So I'm going to say this a lot because I have no time anymore to worry about it. So this is my first video about the beginning things for people who are trying to grow food, especially if you're living in an apartment or a condo. Or I've had a bunch of people email me and say, what's going on if I need to grow food and I have an HOA that tells me that I can't have garden beds. So here's a solution. First of all, this is going to get bad enough that you can give the finger to your HOA because no one's going to care. It's going to be very scary stuff. So try your best to plan based on what you need and not plan on based on what your HOA or your neighbor gives a crap about, if you know what I mean. So anyway, this planter, you see how big it is? I believe it's a 20 gallon. This you can actually buy from your local places that sell trees, places that sell plants. A lot of them have tons of these just hanging around. You don't have to do one this big, but if you have space and pots are the only thing allowed, this is a pot, right? So get yourself as big as you can, or there are smaller sizes. There's a 10, I believe, that's really nice. It's probably about that big around. This little one is the one that I use to transplant. So I'll show you here in a second. When I seed everything, I put it in the little trays. And because I do over 700, I do it this way. Some people put it in Dixie cups or whatever. There's a lot of different ways you can start a seedling in a tray or a cup or eggshells. I see people do it in eggshells or egg cartons. So you can do that. But definitely right away to get prepared, get your pots right now. Run, run, run. Get them, because soon you won't be able to leave the house. You won't be able to get anything. So get your pots and get your soil. So I'm going to take you out here in a second and show you the soil that I use. I'm going to tell you right now, I do what I do that works for me. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just what I've learned to do here. The first 2 years that I came here, I came from the city, moved out here, thought I was going to be the master gardener, and I lost my butt 2 years in a row. I mean, I lost like $4,000, cried my eyes out, couldn't grow anything. It was the most horrible experience. There are tricks when you're up here in this area, high altitude area. Divide is a nightmare. You know, you get the hail, you get the cold, you get the wind, you get all these things that Denver or even Parker don't get. So it's very complicated to grow here. So I'm hoping to give you some tips that can help you. But again, if you've got something that works for you, do that. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. I'm just going to tell you what I've learned that's helped me over time. So it's kind of obnoxious because John's on the tractor trying to clear the 8 feet piles of snow out here so that we can function. So it's going to be a little loud. I apologize. So again, first step, get your pots. So if you don't have garden beds, get your pots. If you have garden beds, you need to get your soil where it's really good. And what I mean by that is amended soil. That's a complicated saying. I mean, people are like, what do you mean amended soil? Well, there's a lot of ways to amend it. You can do it with manure. You can do it with an already amended soil pack. There's so many ways. But if you're just starting, it's better to just go get your soil in bags already amended, or get soil and amendment and mix it, which is what I'm going to show you here. I'll take this with me here. So I have Vermiblend. Hopefully this is getting this. Vermiblend, which is the amendment that I use. And then I use Black Gold, which has a slight bit of an amendment in it, but not enough for me. So I mix this and this 50-50 to get my seeds started. My favorite blends as of now. So let me set you back down here. This is so complicated. Hard to carry this thing around and do this. Ugh. Okay, so first step, soil, pots. Get them now. Run to get them now. The pots you can probably buy online. You might even be able to find them on Amazon. I'm not sure. I've had these trays. Look how ratty they are. I've had these trays now for 8 years. I use the same trays for 8 years. These things are great. And how I get the plant out so it doesn't destroy this thing is with a grapefruit spoon. You can just go like this in your little square, around your little square, and it lifts right out just like grapefruit. So I use a grapefruit spoon to get these out when I replant them. When I replant into this size of a pot. And why is because it's going to take this size of a pot before I put it into the ground. If you replant little, you keep going up, you're going to spend a million years repotting. You don't want to do that. So go from your square to this size pot. You can, again, find these at the same place you can find these. Buy them online for your replants. Now you're going to need them quickly after you do your seeds, if you do your seeds correctly. And what I mean by that is a lot of people want to just put their seeds in a tray and put them in their house and let them grow that way. They get really leggy that way, really unstable, and sometimes don't make it. And when you repot and replant, sometimes they're not the best plants. So if you want to be successful, really successful, please buy your overhead light and buy your heating mat. So I think it's, what's the name of that one? Might be Herb Farm or something like that. Something Farm that sells like one of the best mats. In fact, I have them over here. Maybe the name is still on there. Again, these mats are 8 years old. Okay, let's see. Here's one, but here's my favorite. And see, it's all Hydro Farm. There it is. See it? Hydro Farm, my favorite mat. So you want to get the mat and you want to get the lights. You see the lights? You can get these at Lowe's. You can order them online through Lowe's or Home Depot and order the Daylight T8 bulbs. Daylight T8 bulbs. You can hang this anywhere, the mat. And this is why. These seedlings thrive in between 65 and 80 degree temperatures, especially things like peppers and tomatoes. Give it to them. Get them rooted, get them done, get them fixed where they're going to do everything for you and produce. Because the most frustrating thing in the world is to spend all this time and money and have your plant die. Everybody sends me messages and they're like, why'd they die? It's like, if you don't get everything right on point, somewhere along the line, they're not going to make it. So trust me on this one. Start them here. Get a mat, get a light. Now, daylight bulbs matter. You know, the different kind of bulbs you have, the fluorescent. You can do a fluorescent, but if you've got a choice, do the daylight, because the daylight represents more sun. Much better for the plant. The plant will get going much faster. For the first year I started doing this correctly, it still wasn't good enough, and I changed my bulbs and made a big difference. So do that. Next thing is, you got to plan on having a place to continually keep them warm until they're either planted in the pot or outside. So right now, I usually plant my tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant because they're the ones that take the longest to get started and to grow. And you want them ready to be planted, boom, first week in June, because otherwise you won't produce fruit. You need to really be on schedule with some of this stuff. So right now, peppers, tomatoes, eggplant are the best things to seed. Now in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be seeding the other stuff, cucumbers, squash, blah, blah, blah. More stuff. We'll go over that as we go along. But right now, it's a good time to start your peppers, tomatoes, and eggplants. Now, there's a difference between plants you need to seed into the ground directly and plants you should do this way as a seedling and transplant. And we'll go over that. I don't want to do too much in a video, and it's just, you know, boring. I'm sure people are sitting around, la, la, you know, hurry up. But so we'll just do this for today, but that's a good start, especially right now. I mean, there's a lot of transportation shutting down, a lot of products not going to be available, and nobody's going to be able to leave home. So don't wait. Get your stuff. Get your dirt, get your pots, get your seeds. I buy from Johnny Seed, Baker Seed, High Mowing Organic is one of my favorites. And there's a lot more out there, but those are the ones I pick because I do everything organic. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you can, make sure to find non-GMO if you're not doing organic. It's better for you, trust me, as times are coming. You don't want to deal with genetically modified foods. But anyway, so get all that started. Get your soil, mix your soil, get it in your pots or in your outside beds, and we'll keep going with different things as we go along. Now, this is this is a seedling shed. It's a little old shed I bought from some guy in Evergreen who brought it down for me. God bless his heart. It is ratted out. See it? It's so old. It's got holes all in it. I have to stuff plastic in the holes to keep it warm. But see, I have a tent I built inside. See that? I dropped that plastic because it'll get down to still, we'll get 7 below or worse sometimes between now and June. And you want to make sure to make the plants, they can never, as they're growing in this stage and when you transplant, never hit below 45, especially your tomatoes, because they'll burn and die. So again, you've got to make sure your environment's the way it needs to be. So if you have a hoop house, you probably already know this, you need to cover it. You need to cover your section, have your lights covered, because even in a hoop house, there's too much ambient temperature in the hoop house that's cold. It's hot during the day. It'll be 122 in the day if the sun's out, and then at night it'll drop down to the same temperature that's outside minus the wind chill. So this is all you can do up here with this weather, is to build yourself a tent. Okay, so this is kind of how it looks. Tent, see, tent. Use as much of anything you got. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? You're going to run your mats and lights, see? And we're going to talk about temperature settings and all that stuff later. So hopefully this isn't too much gabbing. Just want to tell people, please get your stuff now, and then we'll continue. As I come out here and do everything, I'll do my best to share things with you that I learned. But don't be afraid of this. This is the time you must do it. So don't sit back and go, I don't have a green thumb. I don't. I fumble. I mumble fumble through this whole thing. Have since the first day I got here. I sit down and cry with happiness whenever something turns out. I'm like, oh my God, look at my peppers this year, right? You just got to figure it out. As time goes on, you'll get better and better, and there are things that you'll change your mind on and things that you'll learn, and it's all just a learning thing. So don't be all or nothing. Don't give up. If your greens die, your tomatoes are okay, get tenacious, grow greens again, get your butt in there, do it again. So, getting yelled at by John, so gotta go. But anyway, I'll send another video out in the next couple days. Okay, guys, thanks.